Sederberg. I'm the Fairbanks Reentry Coalition Coordinator, and today I have with me Marsha Oss, who is the Reentry Case Manager. The Fairbanks Reentry Coalition envisions a community that's safer and stronger by being supportive of returning citizens. Our mission is to create a community where returning citizens have the keys to successfully achieve their personal goals. I learned about reentry from Marsha. I knew about it just a tiny bit because of personal experiences, but Marsha really became my tutor, and so I've been really privileged to work with her for a little over 2 years now, and so we're just going to have a conversation today about her life, and as you know, in the work that we're doing, lived experience is everything. Without lived experience, we have nothing to talk about, really, right?
Right.
But our lived experiences give us passion for our work. And so, anyway, I'm just going to open up the conversation with Marsha right now so that she can just talk a little bit about what brought her into this work. Maybe way back, Marsha, if you want.
Well, I didn't ever envision myself doing this work. I started drinking alcohol at a really young age. I was like 4. I started huffing at 8. By the time I was 11 and 12, I was smoking marijuana. And by the time I was a teenager, I was experimenting with all kinds of drugs. At 27, I was an IV drug user, methamphetamine. I was using up to 2 grams a day. And I was really a mess. I couldn't work. I was unemployable. And I was really suicidal. I had attempted twice. And one day I just got in my truck and decided to drive off to end it for sure. And I ended up in front of a treatment center, and that turned my whole life around.
Wow. Yeah. Well, sometimes we have to run away, right?
Right.
Yeah. Just go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got out of treatment and I still didn't have any skills. I had a GED, but that was all I had. And I was in treatment. I got introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's where I really learned about supports in the community, and sober supports. And I didn't have really any skills to do a job. I knew how to tend bar, and so I started cocktailing and tending bar. And the bartender's daughter worked at the juvenile detention facility, and she said, you always show up, and we can't get anybody to show up. Would you mind applying for a job in this juvenile correction facility? And so I did, and that's how I got introduced into working with people that were incarcerated with juveniles in 1988.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just been crazy. Somebody said, you ought to go to Voc Rehab. So I went to Voc Rehab, and they said, oh, well, you should go to college. And so Voc Rehab helped me go to college. And through them, I got a counselor, and I started working on the things that were actually making me drink and use those drugs. And I started addressing that stuff. And I wanted to be a teacher, and God had other plans.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing case management for the Reentry Coalition?
Since February 9th, 2017.
Yeah. And so you really are the face of reentry for many, many people. How many people have you seen now?
184. No, wait. 200, including the Second Chance Act grant people.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
And we just did some statistics, and at least by the end of the program, which is about 6 months on the outside, 3 months on the inside, only 11% had recidivated, compared to a statewide recidivism rate that's around 60%. So that's a really successful program. I mean, they're kind of apples and oranges, but it's still really, really significant. You do really good work, Marsha.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We were just looking at, I just had Michaela run the numbers on just the Native population, since we're predominantly in a Native community. And out of 183 clients, 83 were Native. That had come through the program.
That's really significant.
That's almost half.
Yeah, that's almost half.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in Marsha's reentry program, the people that come in are high risk of recidivating. So we're not talking that she has really great success because they weren't going to recidivate. These were all going to recidivate if they didn't have the supports that you offer.
And some do. Some will go through 1 or 2 times before they something clicks.
Yeah.
So sometimes they've gone, and I tell them, go figure it out, come back, because I don't ever turn anybody away.
Right.
Sometimes they have to go work their own plan.
What are the kinds of things that you help them with?
Housing, getting assessments, getting into treatment, filling out the application for the returning home application for a TBRA house so they can get into their own place at a reduced rate for a couple years. Clothing, teeth, glasses, connecting them with resources. It's been really good now that we have the bridge because I was running pretty hot at 40 and 40 is the maximum that we can have on the caseload. And so I could never get below 40. And with the bridge's help now, I can refer people over and they get the supports from the peer support and the support of employment.
Yeah.
That's, I wouldn't have been able to do it without that.
Yeah. It's been a really great partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
It has.
What would you like to say about your own record and how it's impacted you in these last few months?
Oh, barriers?
Barriers.
Barriers. So that's one of the things that happens with my clients is they have a lot of barriers. So when they get out, it's hard for them to get a job because they've got the felony and they may not have a driver's license. They may never be able to get one. And I started my career in Idaho, and so I had all these supports around me. And Idaho, so 37 years ago when I was 22, I got a DUI. And it was considered a felony because it was over the .20 BAC level. And they said, it's a DUI. You know, it wasn't a violent crime. 37 years later, here I am at the end of my career, and Alaska considers my 37-year-old DUI a barrier, and they have restricted some of my ability to do my job. I can't go into facilities. They took away the referral source that I would get my referrals from, the ACOMs. And I got to tell you, it knocked the wind out of me well, I cried the first day. Then I got mad. And I thought, if this would have happened to me at the beginning of my career, I wouldn't have a career. I would have just went back to using and slinging dope, you know? And so it's like everything that's ever happened to me, I believe that God has let me experience it because it's going to be something that I'm going to be able to help someone else with. Yeah. So that's why I've got my barrier crime here in Alaska now. And Brenda has taken up the sword for me, and people are working to get everything restored. But it was very humbling because I didn't face that anywhere else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was ready to just quit.
No, you can't quit.
No, but I mean, it was
really a blow.
Yeah, it just really knocked me for a loop.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you just think about, it's not someone who has some of the other people we've had share, it's not that they didn't get a suspended imposition assist, or they didn't get charges dropped or whatever, but for whatever reason, something happened that just makes them unemployable and makes it hard for them to get housing. And it doesn't have to be that you were incarcerated for 8 years or something like that. It can be just some simple thing.
It's not that I didn't deserve to be incarcerated, probably for my life, for some of the things that I've done, because I lived an outlaw life. But I didn't get caught. I got that DUI that one time, and I never went back to jail after that. But it was the idea that they won't allow me to appeal it here. There's no way around it. It's like, that's it. It's done for you.
Well, and I think it's really interesting too, because it wasn't a barrier until this summer.
till the Second Chance Act grant, and they wanted me to be able to help the probation officer. And so they couldn't find my original fingerprints and had me send it in again. And they had started this new little group.
Yeah.
And I got excluded. They didn't like me on the playground anymore.
Well, Marsha, you do an amazing job, and you're such a blessing to the men and women that are getting out of incarceration. You help them so much, and we're really privileged to be a coalition which is trying to shore up the services and to address the gaps and barriers. And so thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for letting me be me in my job. I think every job I ever had in my life led me to this position, and this will be my last job.
Yeah. I figure this is going to be my last one too. You get to a certain age and you think, oh, I don't probably have to do this forever. But it's really nice to do what we're doing and to do it together. And so thank you for talking to me tonight, Marsha.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would hug you, but we're COVID.
Yeah.